What's good, fight fans? I'm back with another fight card this week, and we've got a solid night of fights for the hardcores. Fiziev versus Gamrot. I'm expecting this to be a 5-round war going back and forth, hopefully without a finish, because I want to see both of these fighters really get tested against their style counters. Across 404 UFC fights this year, I've got 262 dubs. Last card, I went 10-1, and if one judge didn't fuck shit up so badly, I think I would have went undefeated. It would have been a fucking perfect card. I mean, I guess the main event kind of fucked me up too, but it's whatever. 21-12 in main event fights, because you know we don't count ties on this shit, and the champion retained her belt, so I kept it. That's a Grosso dub for me. I called it going to a split decision and all that. I'll take it as a dub. First fight of the night, though, we got Montserrat Rendon taking on Tamirez Vidal. I'm taking Tamirez Vidal in this. She's just a little bit more of a dog. I feel like she has more testosterone in her. Even though Montserrat is undefeated, she's just a little bit older, so I've got to trust Tamirez. She's just more of a fighter. Moving on, Mizuki Inoue taking on Hannah Goldie. Hannah Goldie is a 50-50 fighter, let's be real. I mean, she's pretty jacked for a female fighter in strawweight, but Mizuki Inoue is just a lot more tested with 20 fights on her resume, and she's 3-1 with her record being 14-6, so I'm going to trust her. I think she has more ways of getting the fight finished. You never know with women's MMA. It's pretty much always a coin toss, but yeah, whatever. Next up, Mo Usman taking on Jake Collier. This one's more interesting to me because at the face-offs, Jake Collier said, "You're not a good fighter just because your brother was a champion," or something along those lines, just because your brother is. It looked like it really stung Mo. It kind of seemed out of pocket. Like, I don't really see the point in saying that, but it was also fucking hilarious, and it made me more interested in this fight. Now, on paper, it looks like Mo Usman's going to be able to hold Jake up against the cage and probably just do what he's done to all of his last opponents, just out-wrestle them. But you never know, because it does always start on the feet, and they're heavyweights at the end of the day, and heavyweights have power, and they can knock you out with any punch. The odds are really close, and I think that's fair. I think that reflects what a majority of us are thinking in our heads, which is that this could be a really close fight, but it's probably going to go Mo Usman. I'm picking Mo by a decision. Next up, Jacob Malkoun versus Cody Brundage. Man, this is tough for Cody Brundage. He's been on like, what, a 2-3 fight skid, and he lost to Cedricus Dumas last, or like his second to last fight ago, because he's been really active, which I can appreciate. But coming in now, and now you're going to have to take on Jacob Malkoun, who's really, really good. He looks like he could be a prospect at middleweight, and he's 7-2, so he has a way more solid record than the 8-5 Brundage. I've got to trust Malkoun. I feel like his leg kicks are going to be the deciding factor in this fight. He's going to chop away early, and I think he's going to take away all of the power that Cody Brundage has. And without his power, I don't think he has much. He definitely doesn't have great wrestling. I mean, the dude, low-key got out-grappled by Cedricus, so I'm picking Jacob Malkoun. Next up, we've got Tim Means versus Andre Fialho. Now, this is a tough fight to pick. Both fighters are on a 3-fight skid, but Andre Fialho is only 2-4 in the promotion, which is weird to think about, because at one point he was looking like he could be one of the next bigger things in welterweight, or maybe he could be a prospect. 2-4 in the whole promotion. Tim Means is way more tested, and in my opinion, his striking may not be as crisp, but he has that dog in him, and he's able to just keep a pace on you, and he's able to take one and give one. And I have a bad feeling that Andre Fialho can't. Now, I'm still going to be picking Andre Fialho just because his striking is a little bit more crisp. He's younger. He's taking a little bit less damage. I don't think he has as much wear and tear. But this is a close fight, man, and I wouldn't be mad if you sided with the underdog and Tim Means. Next up, the prelim headliner, Dan Argueta taking on Miles Johns. This is an awesome fight. It's the first underdog of the card that I'm going to be picking in, which is Miles Johns, sitting at like a plus 155, which are really good odds, because when you look at it, both these fighters only have 3 losses combined, with Miles Johns having 2 of them. But Dan Argueta, he's not nearly as tested as Miles Johns in the UFC. And when it comes down to it, they're both kind of more of grappler-based fighters. But Dan Argueta is like a wrestler, and Miles Johns is like a counter-wrestler with good hands. Like, you could tell that he wrestled in college or in high school because of the way he fights, but he's always looking for like the overhands and the hooks. Now, Dan Argueta's tough as fuck, but I feel like his striking isn't as crisp as Miles Johns. I think he's going to be getting landed on, and Miles Johns is going to take a 2-1 decision, 29-28. Next up, first fight of the main card, Ricardo Ramos taking on Charles Jourdain. This is a really good fight on paper. It should be a harder one to pick than I feel like a lot of people are making it out to be. I'm still going to be siding with Charles Jourdain, even though I don't think he's as heavy as a favorite as everyone is saying. But he is just more tested. And at the end of the day, like, I know I fall back on that a lot, but it means a lot, and it usually is why I get a lot of these predictions right, I feel like. when you're battle tested in the UFC specifically, it goes further than how crisp you look on the pads or how you've looked against XYZ opponents or how many knockouts or finishes you have in one department. Like, it usually just trumps all. Like, when you're tested, and especially when you have that dog in you, those fighters just win majority of the time if they really take their camp seriously. So I'm going Jourdain. Next up, Brian Battle, AJ Fletcher. Really close fight again on paper. Both fighters only have 2 losses and 9 wins to 10 wins. So it's similar records. It's for a lot of these fights on the card, honestly. I'm going to go with Brian Battle as a slight favorite. He's just looked really good in every fight he's had in the UFC, and he surprised me. I watched that season of The Ultimate Fighter, and I was actually kind of invested in it because I really enjoyed some of the fighters on it and the personalities. And I didn't expect Brian Battle to make it out of there, to be honest. I thought it was either going to be Andre Petrosky or it was going to be Tresean Gore. But it ended up being Brian Battle, and you got to respect a man that can make it through the fire like that. The only loss he's had is to Renat Fakretinov. Sorry if I just butchered that shit. And that's a killer who's 20-1. So, like, that's all right, man. Like, I'll give him that. You're going to have some fights like that coming up. I'm taking Brian Battle. He just looks crisper on the feet, honestly. I feel like he's going to be able to land more and do more damage. And I know that the graphic popped up from Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterson Gomez, and I've just kind of been still talking about the last fight. I'm going to briefly talk about this. I don't even know why it's happening. Don't know why it's the feature fight of the card. They've already fought. It wasn't that long ago. And since they fought, Michelle Waterson Gomez has only lost more. So why they're fighting again, I don't fucking know. But Marina Rodriguez should be able to do what she did last time. She whooped her ass over 5 rounds. She should have an even easier time whooping her ass over 3 rounds. I mean, maybe Michelle Waterson Gomez can like pull off some magic and bring it to a split decision and then get gifted a split, but I just don't see it happening. I'm going Marina Rodriguez by a decision. Unanimous. Now we got the co-main event, Bryce Mitchell versus Dan Ige. A fight that I feel like the odds aren't reflecting as how close it should be. I am going to be picking Bryce Mitchell, even though I don't think he deserves to be as heavy of a favorite, because I think regardless of who he fights in the featherweight division, he'll be able to get them to the ground. I'm going to take him for his word that he was at his worst when he came in to fight Ilia Topuria, and even still he managed to get somebody as good as Ilia, who I think is guaranteed top 5 for the next 3 years bare minimum in this division. And he was still able to get him down and do some work, being at his worst, if he really was. So with somebody like Dan Ige, who was a college wrestler and is still a scrappy man who probably has better striking, I'm still going to trust Bryce Mitchell to be able to find his way in the exchanges on the feet, to get it to the ground and hold him there and do some damage and maybe even pick up a submission win. I mean, Bryce Mitchell was a lot better than I feel like people give him credit for. And you see the Ilia Topuria dick riders out there just spamming hate on Bryce everywhere in the comments. It's cringe as fuck. It's like the Islam dick riders. I don't know what it is with certain fans from like certain parts of the world, but like, y'all don't know how to be fans of people without making it gay as fuck. I'm just gonna be real. Now let's move on to the main event of the night. Rafael Fiziev versus Mateusz Gamrot. Gamrot is the underdog, which is fair. I feel like Fiziev is probably more likely to do damage on the feet when they are going to be in exchanges on the feet, which again, like I said earlier, it always starts on the feet, as we know. So when it comes to fighters like that you can trust to pick up some damage no matter what when it's on the feet, it's a safe bet. I'm going to be going with the underdog, the only other underdog I'm picking on the night, and that's Gamrot, just because I feel like his scrambles are fucking ridiculous. Like, you got to go back and rewatch that Arman Tsarukyan fight. He always found a way to bring it back to the ground, and that's against one of the top 3, top 4 grapplers in the division. Top 10 probably in the whole sport, I would argue. That's how good Arman is, in my opinion. And Mateusz was still able to take him down and threaten him and win a really, really close split decision. He's so good that Khabib warns and like talks about how good he is to Islam and tells him like, you need to look out for him. Brother, you need to watch this guy, brother. And it's true. He's really that good. Now, Fiziev is explosive and can just throw some crazy shit. He can land a flying knee, end it out of nowhere. He could throw a wheel kick, end it out of nowhere. He can land a crazy combo, drop him with a liver kick, and end it. But I don't think he's going to be able to do that as often as Gamrot's going to be able to spam a double leg or spam a single leg or chain it into this or that and just keep him guessing or keep him on the cage and just, work his game. So I'm going to trust Gamrot, although it is a really, really close fight and you really never know at the end of the day. But let's hope that we can build that main event win streak back up. Anyways, I'm going to keep it short and sweet like I always do with my videos. I hope y'all enjoyed the video and I'll catch y'all for the fights.